Now we're going to be coding the signing up class that if a user tried to register himself for the first time, then what would be preliminary steps that could have to be taken out. So let's get started. At initial, I'm going to create a few variables that are going to be helping us out in the later on cases and stages. I'm going to use public static final int fill all fields, which will be actually 1 or 0, which means that you should fill all the fields, and we're going to actually be providing it in a switch statement of cases like case 1, case 2, case 2. So if the case 1 actually matches with this, then we will be actually appearing that you should fill all the fields. And how we're going to match it with the help of this integer value 0. I'm going to use public static final int type same password in password fields is equal to 1. We use public static final int sign up failed, which will be actually 2, and public static final int sign up successful, it would be actually 3. And I'm going to use public static final int username password length short, it will be 4. So if each of the string or if each of the integer matches with the switch statement cases, then we're going to be implementing and executing that one. So what would happen if for example the user leave any one of the field in the sign up process, then it will be appeared that fill all the field. If the user actually failed in signing up the process, then a sign up failed would appear, and blah blah blah. I'm going to press enter. I'm going to create two variables that would be like public static final string, and it would be server sign up successful 5, and public static final string server sign up crashed. That's it. So what does it really means? That we are actually saying that the server sign up successful means that we have successfully actually signed up the process, and server sign up crash means that we have actually not successfully signed up the processes in here. Now if I just get back to the signup.xml file, here I would find the username edit text, password edit text box, confirm edit text box in email. So I'm going to have to actually reference them and initialize them all in, as well as these two buttons. So I'm going to cross it out and create public edit text username, public edit text password, public edit text email. I'm just going to have password confirmation, public edit text email, and that's it. Now I'm going to actually import the edit text statement in here, and that's it. And it is actually a string, so I'm going to actually cover it up in 5 and 6. That's it. And then once again I'm going to have to actually reference this manager class, because it contains the method of signing up the process also, like this one, signing up the user. So I'm going to have to use it and give reference to it once again. Public manager service provider, that's it. And now we're going to create a handler which is going to be actually handling the two threads simultaneously. So I'm going to use public handler, and that will be handler. I'm just going to press enter and import the manager class. Now I'm going to write the same code of service connection class as I've written in the logging in.java file, because for the signing up the process and logging in the process, both we need a service connection class, because it will actually allow us to interact with the databases and service providers. Now actually I've added the code of onCreate method, and let me now discuss each line one by one. So I've just give it a set content view that actually signing up .xml file, and I have actually inflated this layout in here and provided a title sign up to this, and then I created a reference to the button sign up button, cancel button, username, password, email, password confirmation, and email. So I have just actually created the reference to all of them, and then I provided a listener to the sign up button, that is sign up button set on click listener, and provided a listener to it in here. So if the user.length is greater than 0, password.length is greater than 0, which means that if the user or the customer which is using this application has actually written something in the username, password, and confirm password and email text box, edit boxes, then then you're gonna have to perform this if statement. So what this if statement means, that if the password dot get test to string dot equals password dot get test to string, which means that if the password which you have entered in the first edit text, so there are two edit text boxes, one for password and one for confirmation of password. So if the user entered in the first password edit text box something, and if it equals to the second password edit text box, then it means that the user have actually confirmed the password. And if the user name length of the user is greater than or equal to 5, or it is the password length is greater than or equal to 5, then you will be able to process it on. So in that case, we have actually used the thread, and to handle the thread we actually used the handler class. Handler class is actually used to handle the thread while we are actually working two simultaneous tasks at the same time. So for that purpose we use threads, and to handle those threads we actually use the handler class. So here we actually use the thread class, and then we have actually created a string variable called result, and we're going to put actually the result inside this variable. And then after that we have actually a service provider dot is sign up user. So what is service provider? Service provider is actually a manager interface. I'm just going to click on this one and double click on manager.class, and here we have actually a service provider, this one. So it is actually accessing the sign up user class. So we have this sign up user class, and now it is actually accessing it, and it is actually getting the text of the username from the edit text box of the username and converted it to string, and then it actually get the password from the edit text box of the sign up form and then convert it to string, and similarly with the email. And then with the help of handler we are actually customizing and manipulating these new runnables. And then in the run method, if the result is equals to the server sign up successful. Server sign up successful is actually a variable which we have created previously. So server sign up successful is the 5. So if the result, which is actually now we have in the result the username, the password, and the email are present inside the result variable. So if it equals the server sign up successful, then create a toast message to the user that sign up is successful, otherwise create a toast message that sign up is failed. And then we're going to create the thread and start the thread, and if the username length is less than 5 characters or the password length is less than 5 characters, then you're going to have to create a toast message will be saying that username and password length is short. But if the password is not equal to the confirmed password, then you're going to have to toast out a message and will be saying that please type the same password in the password field, and similarly with this else statement that sign up all the fields. And then I'm going to get to the bottom, and in here if a user clicks on the cancel button, then it will cancel the activity of the sign up process. And then the last method which I have actually created in here is the dialog method. The dialog method is actually used to actually prompt out a dialog when a user performs a specific kind of action. So in here, if it is actually the means that if the user didn't type the same password, so a dialog would appear to the user and would be prompting that please type the same password in the same field with an OK button. And then if the user didn't fill all the fields, then a dialog would appear with the message of sign up all fields and with the button OK. And we are actually prompting out these dialogs with the help of Alert Dialog Builder. So now that's the end of the sign up process, and we are actually applying the same kind of process. The last thing which we have in here is the create. So after creating the Alert Dialog Builder, in each case we are actually going to create them.